Have you ever been in one of those arguments where, logic just doesn't seem to land? Well, we're about to dive into a story that's about so much more than just good versus evil. It's about the power of a closed mind and what rushes in to fill an empty heart. It's an incredible narrative that uses a brilliant logical takedown and a pretty chilling metaphor to get right to the heart of one of life's biggest questions. And it all really starts with this question. This is the core of the whole conflict. What happens when something undeniably good, an act of pure healing, is twisted around and called evil? That one accusation is the spark that just ignites everything that's about to happen. So, let's set the scene. The Gospel of Luke paints this incredibly vivid picture. Imagine this. There's a man who can't speak, silenced at what the text calls a demon. And then suddenly, in an instant, Jesus heals him. He can speak. And it happens right there, out in the open, for everyone to see. I mean, it's a clear, undeniable miracle. But the crowd's reaction? It's split right down the middle. On one hand, you have people who are just blown away, totally in awe of what they've just witnessed. But then there's this other group, and they immediately get suspicious. Their minds start racing, trying to find some other, darker explanation for this amazing thing. And the accusation they land on is shocking. They actually suggest Jesus is working for Beelzebul, which is another name for Satan, the Lord of the Flies. I mean, just think about that for a second. They're not denying that the miracle happened. They're saying its source is pure evil. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. Jesus doesn't get angry or defensive. Instead, he just calmly uses pure logic to completely dismantle their argument, piece by piece, and show them how utterly nonsensical it is. His logic is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. He basically says, okay, let's just think this through. If Satan is giving me the power to fight his own demons, he's basically starting a civil war in his own kingdom, right? Any kingdom or any house that's divided against itself is gonna fall. It's completely self-defeating. So their accusation, it just doesn't hold up. So after he takes their logic apart, he gives them the only other possibility. He says, look, if this power isn't coming from evil, then it has to be coming from God. And if that's true, if he's working by the finger of God, then this isn't just some magic trick. It's a sign that something massive is happening, that the kingdom of God is literally breaking into their world. Now, once he's won the logical debate, Jesus switches gears. He moves away from that cold, hard reason to something that can be even more persuasive, a story. He tells a parable, this short metaphor, to paint a picture of the cosmic battle they're all a part of. He asks them to imagine a fortress. Picture a strong man's house, completely armed, locked down, and protected. This is meant to represent the domain of evil, a kingdom that feels totally secure, maybe even impenetrable. This fortress is Satan's kingdom. He's the strong man, armed to the teeth and completely in control. The text says his possessions are safe, and that means the people, the world he holds captive. From his point of view, his rule is absolute, secure. And this is the whole point of the story, that security is just an illusion. The fortress can be breached, but only if someone stronger shows up to attack. Someone who has the power to disarm the ruler and take back everything he's claimed. And in this story, Jesus is making it perfectly clear. He's the stronger one. But right after this story of cosmic victory, Jesus tells a second one. And this one is much more personal. And frankly, it's pretty unsettling. It's a deep warning about the state of the human heart. He tells a story about a person who's been cleared of an evil spirit. Their inner house is now spotless. It's been swept clean. Everything is put in perfect order. On the outside, it looks like a total success story, right? A complete moral transformation. But here comes the chilling twist. The spirit comes back later and finds the house all clean, but it's empty. It's unoccupied. And that spiritual vacuum is like an open invitation. So it goes out, finds 7 other spirits even more wicked than itself, and they all just move right in. So the final state of that person is far, far worse than it was in the beginning. The warning here is just so stark. Simply cleaning up your life without filling it with something good isn't just not enough, it's incredibly dangerous. An empty house is a vulnerable house. So all of these different pieces, the logic, the parables, this chilling warning, they're all building toward one final, unavoidable conclusion about where every single one of us stands in this spiritual reality. And this leads to one of his most challenging statements of all. He flat out declares there's no neutral ground here. You're either with me, actively gathering and building something good, or you're against me, passively letting everything scatter and fall apart. The story of the empty house just showed us neutrality isn't a safe space. It's just an open door for something else to take over. So, what are the big takeaways from this incredible passage? Well, first, we see Jesus masterfully using both sharp logic and powerful storytelling to persuade. Second, he makes it absolutely clear that God's power is fundamentally stronger than evil. Third, and this is a big one, he warns us that a spiritually empty life, even if it looks clean on the surface, is a dangerous place to be. And finally, he leaves us with a stark choice, insisting that in this cosmic struggle, there are no spectators on the sidelines. And all of this leaves us with one final, piercing question that echoes right from the ancient text into our lives today. If nature abhors a vacuum, and an empty spiritual house is just an invitation for trouble, then the question isn't if your house will be filled, but with what. So, what fills your house?